Hello all, it's Bagpipes in the Barn again on Friday. This week I'd like to speak about something that's really was quite hard for me when I was, after I've been playing pipes for 10 or 15 years. I found that I was developing let me get my chanter, my E finger. When I was trying to do this one was coming up at the same time. I couldn't control it. Now, reading about these things, I found out it's quite common with musicians, and it's particularly common with that particular finger. There aren't that many treatments that are guaranteed to work with it from the medical community. They have various things they do, and you can see various doctors. Well, I didn't do any of that. It was bad. I mean, I just couldn't figure out how to carry on with the piping, so I more or less left it to one side and carried on with my life without the pipes for a while, or without the pipes as an integral part of what I'm doing, playing with bands, playing solos and all this sort of thing. I just couldn't physically do it. So I wanted to look into what was happening with those two fingers, and it turns out, from what I was reading, is that when you start doing this with these fingers, there's two areas in the brain which control each finger. I know this is very medical and technical, I don't know, this is just how I explain it, and they kind of merge, they kind of overlap, so that they're kind of triggering each other off at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what's happening. So you kind of have to re-educate your brain in order to separate those two sections again, so they can actually operate individually once again the way you want them to. Also, I also found out that I was grabbing my chanter way too. I was playing with too much tension in my fingers. Now, this was never explained to me when I was younger, that relaxation is a real big key to being able to play pipes properly and make sure that your fingers are healthy, etc, etc. No too much extension, no too much gripping. Nice relaxed hands, so it would be like this rather than like this, or gripping tight on the chanter. And I was gripping way too hard on the chanter, and it was great for light music and that sort of. I was playing light music no problem at all, but when it came to playing P-rock, I was trying to play the P-rock movements, and I was really struggling. Also, I found that the less I played, when I did play, I was actually forcing myself to move that finger, and that was actually compounding the situation. It was making it so that, because I was putting so much effort into it, and using this rather than relying on the fingers, this was getting worse. So the more I did it, the worse it got, and that was very discouraging. It's very depressing at the time as well. So after thinking about it for a while and deciding that I really want to get back into this and get my fingers moving again, I decided to try something which would isolate that one finger, so this finger, my E finger, could move independently of this one. Alright, so the solution I came up with, and I don't know if this would work for everybody, it certainly worked for me, but it took a long time and lots of steady practice. And I'll just put this on here. Don't know, this one can be a bit too tight. So I put an elastic band on the chanter, make sure that went over that finger so it's hard to move it, and then did exercises that only involved using this finger to kind of, in my head, it was isolating that finger so it could operate individually. So maybe you could get those two sections apart. I know this is just the way I visualize things. It may not be medically correct or whatever, but this is how it worked for me. It may not work for you, but this was very good for me. So I would practice twirlers, and so on, Strathspey movements. anything that I could play that involved the E finger, but I didn't have to move the F finger at all. So this really helped, but it took a long time in order to do it, and there's a lot of frustration. Sometimes you don't feel like you're quite getting there, but actually you are, as long as you use the process correctly. And also, when I took the band off, I found that as long as I remembered to relax, I understood the feeling of how that E finger should move. As long as I was able to relax and get it moving, I could do that after I'd had the elastic band on, but only for a limited amount of time. So, and then after a while, these times built up and up, so I could actually feel these movements with no effort at all without the elastic band. It took, I'm going to say, about 18 months or 2 years of just getting on it to do this. It does actually end some players' careers, not only pipers but classical musicians, flautists and violinists and all these sort of people. They use this finger a lot when they're playing the violin. So it's something that can be overcome, but it's something that it's very frightening at the time, because you really want to, it's a huge part of your life and you do really want to carry on playing, but if that's happening, it's just not fun anymore. You know, you're just struggling all the time. So I carried on doing that, and now I've got it into my head how to relax properly because of this, and not tense up and force movements to happen. It's when you start forcing things to happen that these problems can occur, okay? And when you're tight on the shoulder, not relaxed. I hope this may help some people out there. I know there are various ways of doing this, and like I said, this is just what worked for me. It was a long process, and I had to keep at it for a very long time. So anyway, I hope this helped some people, will help some people, and I wish you luck. All the very best for now.